Welcome, everybody. This is Chess Master Bracketology, first ever. We are so excited to be here. This is a bunch of chess masters who you probably didn't know are also big sports fans. With me here directly to the right is Robert Hess, Grandmaster, one of the founders of the sportsquotient.com. I've never been to the website. Next to them is Robbie. I'm kidding. That was a joke. Robbie Adamson, diehard Arizona Wildcats fan. I don't think he does anything else with his life. Robbie, say hi.
How's it going?
And finally, all the way to the right is International Master Greg Shahade, chess entrepreneur extraordinaire. Shahade. I did that on purpose to test you. Now I know you're awake. Shahade. Greg Shahade. And we're going to go through and make our picks for the 2014 March Madness tournament, the greatest sports spectacle known to man. And we're going to probably teach you some chess along the way. At least we're going to say that so you don't go anywhere. Although if you listen to my uncle Yermo always said I learned more about chess having a beer with him watching baseball than I did going over games. So you do the math. All right, here we go. We're going to start in the South. Robbie. Actually, how do we want to do this? Let's go left to right. Robert, you're first. Florida and Albany. Or Mount St. Mary's.
This is a no-brainer here. Let's go with Florida.
Okay. Any disagreements on that?
I'll take Florida.
Okay. Greg
I did a lot of
wasn't too sure.
research, and after hours and hours of deliberation.
Right. Hours of deliberation about who will win between Albany and Mount St. Mary's. But,
Exactly.
Okay, they'll get fed to the shark. First big debate, Colorado and Pittsburgh. Who you guys got?
I'm going Pitt.
Robbie?
I'm going Pittsburgh too.
Greg?
Well, I'm going Colorado.
Okay.
I can explain my reasoning, or I can just say I'm going to pick Colorado.
We're all going to go Pitt besides Greg, and I'll tell you why we're not picking Colorado, because they've been playing without their best player for 6 weeks. Greg, did you know that?
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Greg did a lot of research for today's show.
See, the thing
Colorado
is, everybody's
probably
picking
the
Pittsburgh.
Right.
Team there is. And Pittsburgh's the best team. Is a much better team.
I'm sure Pittsburgh's better, but everyone's picking them, and the way to win these pools, you have to pick things that other people don't.
So that's
And
you. You're the
they got
go
a
against the
chance.
grain.
Yeah, but when you can offensive rebound like Pittsburgh can, I don't think Colorado stands a chance.
Well, some people even think Pittsburgh
all
might
wrong,
pose
right?
problems. Some people think Pittsburgh might even pose problems for Florida. But we'll debate that next. VCU and Stephen Austin. Staying in the South.
Stephen F. Austin is a trendy upset pick, but I have to go with VCU. Their defense is way too good for, kind of a low-level mid-major like Stephen F. Austin.
Okay.
I'm going with Stephen F. Austin in the upset, only because VCU is not the typical VCU team we've seen in the past. Didn't play very well in the championship game of the A10, got killed, and they lost one of their players.
That's true.
Greg?
I'm going with VCU also. Their name's really easy to write, just 3 letters.
Right. Saves time. You see the ESPN commercial where people are like, shooting darts against the balloons. That's about the level of science that goes into my picking. I'm also going to go VCU though. They would be the Stephen Austin of a few years ago, a 12 seed getting a big win over a 5. I don't think that they're gonna fall asleep on this one and let the upset happen. So I think they're a better team. I think they're gonna get the win. All right, everyone, you guys are making your picks as you go, right? Even if ours are different.
My bad.
You can make your picks as we go. On screen, everybody, what you see are my picks because we are recording the video. Everybody is filling out their own bracket, and their brackets will be viewable at tweetyourbracket.com, which is where we're doing this right now with this awesome whole video setup. UCLA and Tulsa. Does anybody have Tulsa over UCLA?
Boom!
I got a feeling this is going to be a long day with Greg. I got a feeling.
I cannot take Tulsa because UCLA did beat my team, and in the championship game of the Pac-12, it was miserable to be there and watch it in person. And I have to go with UCLA. Kyle Anderson, maybe one of the best pros prospects, other than the freshmen that have been highly touted.
Okay. Well, there's the stat man coming from Mr. Pac-12. I'm also going to go with UCLA. I think UCLA is a good team, a very good team. And personally, I have a rule that kind of goes along with my wife's picking the jersey colors she likes. If I don't like the city, like I would never live in Tulsa, then I will not pick their team. In fact, I don't even know what state Tulsa's in. Is it in some Nebraska, Oklahoma, something like that? Doesn't matter.
Oklahoma.
Okay, I was kidding. I was trying to prove a point to get the Tulsa people upset. Ohio State and Dayton.
Would you live in L.A.?
Well, he'd live in Pittsburgh, I guess.
Well, I mean, LA is better than Tulsa, I think.
That's true, but that's not saying that.
All right. Well, other than Greg, though, it seems that we all have UCLA. Not to be a Pac-12 homer, but I think that UCLA is. I think all the Pac-12 teams may have a good start, other than Colorado. So, let's go Ohio State Dayton. Anybody taking the upset besides me? That's right. I got Dayton.
Dayton.
Boom. Dayton all the way to round 2.
That's a trendy upset, but I don't think so. I think Ohio State, Aaron Kraft plays great defense, Quentin Ross, good shooter, and I think they'll find a way to get by Dayton.
I think when you look at these upset picks, though, Robbie, it's not just trendy. Often there's a formula, and Dayton brings a lot of outside shooting. They're a heavy offensive-minded team, and I think that when you look at Ohio State, I know their defense is one of the best in the nation. I think that whenever I'm picking my upset, I have a little formula. I like to look at the teams that bring a lot of offensive firepower, even if they play in one of the smaller mid-conferences rather than the top ones. So that's where I go with Dayton. Plus, they're in the same state, and usually you get that rivalry, that extra rivalry where Dayton's going to bring that extra energy and go for it.
I think Ohio State can't be trusted. That's the real problem. They've been slacking in the first half. They're becoming huge deficits in recent games. And they're finding a way to come back against Nebraska, but against Michigan, I mean, they're building up a huge deficit in these games. It's not impossible to come back into Dayton's squad.
Well, their defense keeps them in it, but I think I agree that Dayton is going to bring the offensive firepower, and I see this as an upset special. Really do. Love it.
Dayton's totally going to win.
Okay.
It's not even worth debating, but if you guys want to keep talking about it, go ahead.
Okay, Western Michigan, I would love to take my boy Dan Marley's alma mater, but I got to take Syracuse in this one. Any disagreements?
Syracuse.
I want to disagree, but Syracuse has played so badly the last month of the year. They've lost some games, and they should have lost some other games. They could have entered the tournament with at least 3 or 4 more losses. So I'm going to go Syracuse, but
you're not happy about it.
Not because Western Michigan.
Let me ask you a question.
I think they're going to give them a tough game, though.
Okay.
Do any of those games matter at all? Like, all that matters is right now, right?
Well, it matters. It matters because it matters because
ignore all of it.
Well, it only matters because if I think Robbie makes a good point that if a team is consistently scraping by the skin of their teeth, as Syracuse did, even when they were on their run, winning as many games as they did before finally losing a game, it just mathematically you look at it and you just think that how many close games can you win before you get in trouble for getting yourself in those positions, as Robert just said about Ohio State. So
you mean how many 35-footer buzzer beaters can Tyler Ennis hit to save them?
Right, exactly. Now.
Well, but here's the thing. The reason that Greg is saying that these games don't matter is because he advocates having chess tournaments in which there are no seeding at all. And so all the pairings are done randomly, and we should just have the number 1 seeds play the first round.
Oh, no.
And then we'll
This is
have
different.
a national championship game. It's fine.
No, this is different.
Okay.
Why?
There are lots of chess references.
They've earned their spots, but I mean, it's just like the seeding. It's just like 1 or 2 easier games or harder games. Is it really that big of a deal?
Well, I guess
a little bit.
I think time it always becomes true depending on. I mean, when you see the tournament happen, then you know, I guess, if the seeding mattered or not. I think that we'll be talking about that when we get to Wichita State, Kentucky, possibly. I mean, I think it can make a difference where you're seated, but
I have a question.
Yeah.
What's up with this 8-9? Everyone knows it sucks to be an 8 or 9 seed because you have to play the 1 seed, and it's much better to be a 10 seed. Doesn't that like strike you as philosophically wrong?
Yeah, I think it does. But
it just bothers me.
If we're talking to you about philosophically wrong, then we have to also talk about the draw in chess. Should there even be a draw? Yeah. And then we're opening a lot of doors with you. So let's stay focused. New Mexico and Stanford. Does everybody and their cousin is picking New Mexico over Stanford. In fact, more people are picking New Mexico over Kansas in the second round then I was just shocked by this. I think Stanford is riding high into the tournament.
Man.
Stanford is playing well. I think the Pac-12 holds a little bit tougher competition throughout the year. So I think this is a little bit more of a coin toss than people give it, but I know a lot of people like New Mexico. After everything I just said, I am picking New Mexico, by the way. Yeah.
Danny, you're on crack. Stanford is not riding high.
Okay.
They finished the season on a terrible.
They beat a really good team from Tempe, Arizona. They beat a really good team.
They barely beat Washington State, I think, in the Pac-12 tournament, and then they played well against. They shot their wad against.
Shot their wad. Is that the technical term? Is that the technical?
term? They shot their wad against ASU, and then they got absolutely killed by UCLA.
You watch too much basketball, man.
I was present for the game, and it was one of the most depressing games.
I agree. I'm more in the Greg line than I am with Robbie and Robert, and Robert, who know more than Greg and I would bet. But
I'm glad you're willing to admit that.
Greg,
I saw one college basketball game this year.
Oh.
I was at a game. It was Penn versus Yale, I think it was.
Oh,
nice.
I think Yale lost that game though.
That pretty much told me everything I need to know about this pool.
Oh, okay.
No, but let's be realistic. New Mexico is coming off a huge high. They beat San Diego. So he's probably one of the best players in this whole bracket, at least at the college level. And I mean, they're underseeded as 7th seed. So it's all New Mexico for me.
Okay.
I agree with New Mexico being underseeded. However, New Mexico always chokes, and just like they did last year against Harvard, they're not a traditionally good NCAA tournament team. But I think that Stanford is really they're probably overseeded at 10, and I'm not kidding. They probably should have been a 12.
Okay. Well, we all have New Mexico besides Greg. Again, the trend continues. Let's move on to Kansas, Eastern Kentucky. Eastern Kentucky, 15-seed upset.
Kentucky.
I mean, is there even an Eastern Kentucky? Like, is there an eastern portion of the state?
I thought it said Kentucky, and I was like, "Oh, Kentucky's a 15." I'm kidding.
All right, I have Kansas. I think everybody has Kansas. We could talk about maybe the 15 getting an upset, but let's just not. Let's move on.
Nope. No,
all right,
dead.
Florida over Pittsburgh. Does anybody have the 9 over the 1?
Well, I got Colorado over there, so.
Oh yeah. Do you have Colorado over Florida, or are you taking Florida?
I do not.
Okay, we're all going Florida. We'll move past that quickly. VCU over UCLA or the vice versa. I have UCLA.
Where's UCLA in my pool? I don't even see UCLA anymore.
That's right.
Tulsa. You're confusing me.
Greg is talking Tulsa VCU. Who you got in that game?
A VCU. I mean, it's so easy to write. It's ridiculous.
Okay. UCLA's only one more letter, but yeah.
I have UCLA.
But they're out. I have
UCLA. The VCU of a couple of years ago, I might take VCU, but UCLA is the better team.
Okay,
VCU,
well, besides Greg having VCU, right? We all have UCLA. I'm going to go with the shocker that people aren't expecting in the next game. I have Dayton over Syracuse. This is one of my big wins in the tournament. I think some people who aren't high on Syracuse might say, oh, not that big of a deal, but they would have Ohio State winning. I think very few people have Dayton over Ohio State, followed up by a big win with an 11 seed making it to the Sweet 16 over Jim Boeheim and the Orange. That's me.
No.
Danny, I would, if there's going to be an 11 that gets to the Sweet 16, you may be right about that one, because Ohio State's a flawed team and so is Syracuse, but I don't think so.
No way.
I'm going Syracuse. As bad as they've played, they're going to be limping into the Sweet 16.
They are a much better coach team. Jim Boeheim is one of the best coaches in college basketball. They have been limping. They've been playing like crap. No one's going to dispute that. But I mean, when it comes down to it, a team like Dayton cannot play with a team like Syracuse.
Unless they play well that day, then they might.
Well, win. I have Ohio State, so you guys are all wrong on that one.
Well, I picked Syracuse,
so Thad Matta is just as good a coach as Boeheim.
By the way, did anybody go out of their way to fill out the Buffett's Billions bracket?
I haven't done the billionaire bracket.
No way,
I feel like it's just like a poor. I feel like it's just like wrenching at like the heartstrings of people that are desperate, because it's like it's statistically impossible to get every pick right. I mean,
no pun intended, wrenching.
Exactly.
Yeah, wrenching.
That's right. It's wrenching. And I feel like I'm against the Buffett's Billions, so I will not be filling out a Buffett's Billions bracket.
Well, you got to sign up for all kinds of stuff too. You're gonna get all kinds of spam email for the rest of your life if you do that.
Junk.
It's
all right.
not like it's free.
New Mexico and Kansas, or Stanford and Kansas.
That's right, Stanford and Kansas. Kansas all the way.
I'm taking Kansas, and again, I'm going against the trendy 7/2 pick because I think Kansas, by the way, has the toughest strength of schedule headed into the tournament. Did you know that stat? Of any team in the nation.
Yeah,
and
they played a ridiculous schedule.
And I believe they've gotten a little bit of a short shaft, not in their seeding, but in the general perspective on Kansas is pretty down. And I think Kansas is pretty good. I think they're going to take down New Mexico, the Chokers, as Robbie said himself, and I like Kansas to move on.
Is that their nickname, the Chokers?
No, it's New Mexico's Choker nickname.
I'm kidding. But they got the guy injured, right?
Yeah.
For the first week?
Joel Embiid.
Embiid is out for the first 2 games, and they're lucky.
And then he'll be back.
They could eat. That's why that they're a trendy pick to lose to New Mexico is because Embiid's out. And honestly, if you heard Charles Barkley on one of the selection shows, he commented that there's no way that the Kansas is going to play him at all because he'd be risking his future if he has a back problem.
But isn't he just going to leave college right away?
Yeah.
So who cares? Why do they care about his future? Right?
Well, I mean, they care. I mean, his agent cares about his future. He cares about his future. They're not going to let him play. I mean,
wow.
Well, okay.
I feel like the schools are always not looking out for the best interests of their players. Let's just put it that way. Especially if they're about to leave.
That may be true. Play. I don't know. I mean, you're going too. Greg, why don't you tone it down a little bit?
Sorry.
Too deep for this show right now.
Continue, Mr. Rensch. I got clients at 30. Okay.
Okay. Well, we have to keep going. Florida and UCLA, or Florida and VCU. Does everyone have Florida?
Yep.
Florida.
I also like to go with the storyline matchup, and I can see the UCLA-Florida comparisons to a few years ago when you had those Billy Donovan teams with UCLA. So I like them meeting, even though Greg has VCU, but I like Florida to move on.
Yeah, Florida is unstoppable.
I have Kansas over Dayton, but obviously you guys are looking at Syracuse, New Mexico in that round. So I guess
I have Kansas. I have Florida and Kansas playing for the right to go to the Final Four.
Okay, so
I have New Mexico and Florida.
Okay.
Whoa.
Greg, who do you have in the Elite Eight? You have Florida and Kansas as well.
I have Kansas too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so moving
out crazy, then I got boring.
Moving on between Florida and Kansas, I still got the top seed overall. Florida moving on to the Final Four. Any disagreements?
No, Florida over New Mexico.
I wanted to pick Kansas, but somehow I ended up picking Florida.
Okay.
Just remember, you guys, that Florida always has been choking in the tournament, other than the 2 years that they had their entire team back, and they don't usually do very well.
What are you talking about? Did they completely dominate the tournament recently?
That was only 2 years, only for a 2-year stretch with Noah.
They made it to the Final Four last year.
They don't do that well.
I don't know what Robbie's talking about.
Final Four.
They weren't in the.
Didn't they make it to the Final 8?
Who was it last year? Louisville, Wichita.
I think they lost to somebody.
Oh, you're right.
Michigan, and somebody else, right?
It was Elite Eight. You're right. Okay.
Yeah, it was Elite Eight. They were not.
Yeah. My bad. Well, all that team is back though, and so we can debate that later. But I think that if you're making comparisons to those Billy Donovan teams with Noah, you also have to draw parallels to this year having Young back.
They have 4 seniors.
Yeah, they have 4 seniors this year, and
Noah is much better than Patrick Young will ever be. Give me a break.
But Robbie, it wasn't just Noah anyway. They had an amazing team back then. I agree with you.
No.
That team was probably better than this team, but this team is still amazing.
Well, and Young brings just the senior leadership and is a big player to go to. I mean, he's going to pull down rebounds, and he's more leading the team on an emotional level than he is as a star.
I have Florida going very, very far.
All right.
I'm just saying that people should be careful with Florida.
Okay, so we got to move quickly. We have to decide. Do we want to do all 4 regions here? Because if so, we're going to have to move faster.
Yeah. Let's go
we
faster.
We got to go faster.
All right. Faster. Arizona over Weber State. Obviously, I'm taking Weber.
Arizona. Let's do it.
Arizona.
Okay. Gonzaga, Oklahoma State. Does anybody have the Zags?
Me.
No.
Gonzaga, baby.
Okay, the Zags.
They always win. Do they ever lose in the first round? Ever?
This year they will. State. Oklahoma State is one of the best, best 9, probably the best 9 seed in the tournament.
Gonzaga always wins.
Yeah. No, Gonzaga's limping into this.
Oklahoma and North Dakota State. I think
we will see. We will see.
I think this was
North
my
Dakota
12-5
State.
special. I took
North
ND.
Dakota State.
I took ND. Yeah, so did I.
NDSU, highest field goal percentage in the NCAA.
I'm playing against the best defenses too, right?
Classic. Yeah.
Oklahoma. I got Oklahoma.
Okay, so Greg and Robbie got Oklahoma. Me and Robert got
yeah.
North Dakota. Okay, well, San Diego State and New Mexico State. I got San Diego.
I have the Fighting Simbulars of New Mexico State Aggies.
Wow, that's your big. That's your big 13
he's a
over 4.
Master, so I'll copy off him.
He's
I got
7
New
foot.
Mexico State.
Their center is 7'5", and I think weighs 400 pounds. I'm not kidding.
He lost weight. He weighs 355.
Yeah, Robbie, hold off.
No. Wait,
I saw him at McHale Center this year. They played, and it was not a pretty sight.
No, but okay, I understand they have their ups and downs, but New Mexico State did beat New Mexico earlier this year, and that's when Bular is playing more minutes. If he gets more minutes and stay in the game, he gets 5 blocks against New Mexico. San Diego State is not a very big team.
They're not, but Xavier Thames is a stud.
Xavier Thames is a stud, but they did lose twice to New Mexico
pick.
And I'm telling you, New Mexico State.
All right. Well, we're gonna keep moving. Obviously, we'll remember Robert's picks, but everyone can see mine. Baylor and Nebraska. I know this was a popular pick to take Nebraska. I'm actually taking Baylor in this one.
Baylor easy.
Okay.
I'm taking Nebraska. I think Baylor's overseeded.
Yeah, Nebraska easy.
See, this is why Madness is mad, because everyone's crazy.
Any team like Baylor that could be 2-8 in the conference is pretty pathetic. That's a dysfunctional team, not very well coached in my opinion, and I think that Nebraska has a good chance to get their first tournament victory ever.
Yeah, I agree with you, Nebraska.
Years, right?
Yeah, Nebraska's on the upswing as far as their program goes, normally known for football there in the big Nebraska, but I still think Baylor takes them. Okay, let's talk McDermott. I've been waiting for this, right? How awesome is it going to be when Creighton rides into the Final Four on McDermott's shoulders and he moves into second place on the all-time scoring list behind Pete Maravich? I got Creighton winning this round, and you already know I got Creighton going to the Final Four out of the West. Riding the shoulders of McDermott.
I hate you right now.
I ride in those. I love those big white shoulders.
Can't fit against Arizona. You live in Arizona.
Creighton is overseeded at 3. They are good. Doug McDermott can score. They have Raggy and other players backing him up, but they'll get past Lafayette in the first round. Come on, the Raging Cajuns of nothing. But let's go. I have Baylor over Creighton in the next round. So.
Wow. Upset special. Okay. Oregon and BYU. Greg, who you got in the 7-10 game?
I have BYU.
Oh,
I got Oregon.
BYU,
take that, suckers.
BYU should not even be in the tournament.
But they are.
They got the handout.
They
got, as I like to call it, the Utah handout. They got the Utah handout.
They have an injury. BYU's limping.
They have an injury. Their successes this year are beating Stanford and Texas. Stanford is overrated. And they're injured. They got crushed by Gonzaga. No way. Oregon all the way.
All right, Wisconsin American. Let's move, guys. Wisconsin American. We all got Wisconsin, even though we're proud to be Americans.
I do.
Yeah.
All right.
I got Wisconsin.
Let's move back up. We're moving back up. We got Arizona over Oklahoma State, but guess who doesn't? Sorry, Robs. I got Oklahoma State over Arizona in round 2. I got a huge upset, and I know what you're thinking. You're thinking exactly what I'm thinking, which is that if Arizona gets past Oklahoma State, they probably have a better chance of getting to the Final Four. Oklahoma State may be their toughest matchup in this region because they're that underrated heading in.
I actually don't think that I think it is an important game to get over, but the only reason that Arizona has an easier matchup to the Final Four is if you compare the 2 and 3 seeds and the 4 seeds in the other regions, Arizona caught a break. They just got screwed. They just got screwed on the 8-9 matchup.
Right.
But someone had to get them, and I have a hard time believing Arizona's going to lose that game.
Well, I'll put it this way. I picked this early upset because Oklahoma State riding high into the tournament as all the points you just made. But if I'm wrong, then I do expect Arizona to beat my boys from Creighton and McDermott. But when you're filling out a bracket, sometimes you pick an early upset and then you end up with a Creighton Oklahoma State game or something. So then you don't have Arizona winning. Of
course.
But in this case, I'm going to agree with you that if I'm wrong about this one, Arizona heads to the Final Four. But I got Oklahoma State.
Creighton only got a 3 seed, by the way, because they killed Villanova twice. Outside of that, they didn't deserve to be a 3 seed.
All right.
And I think Villanova's totally overrated, even at a 2.
Yeah.
All right.
Even though their record of 28-4 justifies it.
I'm alone picking Oklahoma State. Everyone else has Arizona. What about the next
I
game?
got Arizona.
What about the next game?
Oklahoma.
North Dakota State.
Wow, we are all over the map on this one. I have San
I
Diego.
got Oklahoma.
I don't think anybody had the same matchup in this one, but
No.
we're going to keep
Probably
moving.
not.
Let's keep moving. Baylor and Creighton, or those of you who have Nebraska and Creighton.
Baylor.
I got Creighton.
I
They're a
have
fun
Creighton
team.
in the Battle of Nebraska. The state of Nebraska will be on suicide watch that day, and I'm going to take Creighton.
All right, Oregon
How many
and
times do
Wisconsin,
you think-
or the Utah handouts versus Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin here too.
Okay.
I have Wisconsin, but Oregon is a very trendy pick.
Yeah, I agree with that, but we're going to move fast. Wisconsin and Creighton in the Sweet 16.
Baylor.
That's like offense versus defense, right?
No, actually, Wisconsin doesn't play defense this year. They only play offense.
Oh, really? They
It's
always
unusual.
play defense.
Yeah,
it's
except for
Always
this
play
year.
defense.
Oh my God, what's going on with them?
I don't know, but let's
got
Robert's got
Arizona.
Baylor.
I got Arizona and Wisconsin in the Elite Eight.
Okay.
I got Creighton and Arizona.
I got San Diego State and Creighton because I have San Diego State
San
over
Diego.
over
Oh my
Oklahoma
God.
State.
Where'd they come from?
Nebraska.
Yeah, Greg eliminated them so early he doesn't even remember where they came from.
Yeah.
All
Are
right.
they even in the tournament?
Does everybody here have Arizona in the final game, Final Four?
Baylor.
Oh yes.
You have Baylor
I
in
have
the
Arizona
Final
in the
Four?
Final Four.
I have Baylor in the Final
That is
Four.
one of the
All right,
worst
so,
things I've ever
Robert,
heard.
just-
That is a horrible pick, Robert. Baylor's
Baylor's
exiting.
playing well,
Fireplace in
though.
your room,
Baylor
man,
is
just go
playing
burn
well.
your pool right now.
Wow.
All right, keep
It'll be
going.
over
All right.
the first day. Once Nebraska wins, you're just gonna be like, why did I do
Okay,
that?
on to the East. Obviously, everybody's taking Coastal Carolina over Virginia.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the laugh. Now, applause from the back. Okay, let's keep going. Memphis and George Washington. Greg has been on a trend of picking 8, so we'll let him pick.
Oh no, not anymore. You can't predict like that. George Washington this time. You gotta respect the presidents.
I also picked George Washington.
I'm going Memphis.
I'm going Memphis too.
All right, Cincinnati and
Quickest
Harvard.
teams in the nation.
Cincinnati and Harvard.
Harvard.
I have Cincinnati, but I want to take Harvard.
I got
back,
Harvard.
but they're not
I got
gonna do it
Harvard
2
all
years-
over it.
Robbie,
Not
wait,
2 years in a row.
Robbie,
You gotta pick Harvard here because they're like
No.
only a tiny underdog.
Robert,
12 seed.
Robert, you picked Harvard because they're the greatest Ivy League school, right?
that's absolutely false. However, Harvard lost to UConn earlier this year without their best player in Wesley Saunders, and it was a close game throughout the whole entire game against a Cincinnati team who I don't think is particularly that good, to be honest with you. Great defensive team. Not just Sean Kilpatrick can play, but I'm going Harvard.
I got Harvard too. Greg,
too.
Greg, Harvard.
All
All right.
You
It's
guys,
on the roof
you
for the
guys are
smart
just
guys, you know.
perpetuating. You guys are perpetuating the stereotype about chess players. and
Everyone-
picking the smart people. I'm going with the best
Wait,
basketball.
isn't this a chess tournament?
Wait, yeah, exactly. What are we doing here?
I don't
It
understand.
is.
Okay, Michigan State over Delaware. If anybody picked Delaware, it was
State.
Greg, but let's hope he didn't.
Well, I did, but I'm changing my mind. I feel a little bad now. Like,
All right,
pressure.
good.
So I'm gonna go Michigan State.
All right, I got Providence over North Carolina. Anybody else?
Robbie's
Providence.
teleporting over here. I don't know
I
what's going
have to
on.
get my cord is my battery is going to run out. So
Robbie's
plug
taking
it
us on a journey through time and space of his house. I can
got
describe
in.
every
my
room.
office.
His hair is perfectly coiffed.
Yo, I got
Right.
Providence over here, just in case you're wondering.
Providence.
Providence.
See you later, North Carolina.
I got North Carolina, even though they are pretty disappointing. Marcus Page is a beast,
He
and
is a
Providence. Generally, teams that win the conference tournament don't usually that are not expected to be in the tournament to begin with usually flame out. North Carolina is just a better team.
Bryce Cotton is the hardest working player in college.
Yeah.
Like an average.
Bryce
40 minutes
Cotton
per game.
from Arizona.
Yeah, he's amazing. That team,
Yeah.
that team is deep.
I think you're picking North Carolina because you've been staring at the same book for too long, Robbie. You just can't even imagine North
No.
Carolina exiting early. They're not what they used to be.
I saw them lose to Weber State one year, my friend.
It's Weber
that was a
State.
fun
It's
game.
Weber State. First of all, okay, UConn St. Joseph's.
Actually, Weber.
Okay.
It's Weber State if you look it
Well,
up.
then they should have added an E. That was a typo.
They did.
Iowa State and NC Central. Does anyone have NC Central? Iowa State, one of the best, maybe the best 3 seed heading in.
NC Central is dangerous, but you gotta go with Iowa State.
Greg?
Iowa State, easy.
Oh, I feel like, of course, Iowa State.
I want to take Iowa State to
Why
get to the
even
Final
bother
Four.
asking?
All right,
I
UConn
wanna
and St.
take them.
Joseph's.
St. Joe's, man.
I got St.
Got to
Joe's as
represent
well.
Philly.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
it's he's and we know what Greg's gonna pick in the next game, so he can have an all Philly matchup.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna play at the Palestra probably.
All right, Villanova over Milwaukee, even though
UConn.
I went UConn with you, Robbie.
Okay, I got St.
Villanova.
Joe's with Greg, but I'm going to say this. Villanova's going to beat Milwaukee, but if you're going to pick a 15/2 and roll that dice, you might go Milwaukee over Villanova. That is a matchup that is crazy. That's like Villanova overrated. Milwaukee, no one knows who plays for them. It just makes sense.
No, Villanova lost to Seton Hall. Pretty
I've never heard of
depressing.
Milwaukee, honestly. Are they like a new team in Division One?
They're a baseball team.
No, but I mean, I used to know all the teams, and now like they weren't around a few years ago, or maybe they had a different name, like what was it?
The Brewers?
Green Bay,
No,
Milwaukee, or
that's,
something.
that's Wisconsin, Green Bay. That's a different team.
Yeah, but there was also Wisconsin, Milwaukee, right?
I don't know.
All right, as much as we love the first president, we're all taking Virginia over George Washington.
Okay.
Harvard and Michigan State, or those who have Cincinnati.
Oh, man.
Michigan State.
I really want to pick Harvard so bad, but
Michigan State is the trendy pick to get to the Final Four, and as much as I hate the trends, I think Dawson is riding high. I think Michigan State gets this one easily. They move into the Sweet 16.
Unbelievable.
Providence and Ohio State.
Their team is finally healthy.
Okay, North Carolina, Iowa State if you're Robbie. Providence, Iowa State if you're the rest of us.
I got Iowa State. I got Iowa State.
Iowa State's too good, man.
Okay.
The way they shoot that basketball into the net, very impressive.
Greg, we brought you on here after your heavy, half an hour of research right before the show started to
All
give
my
some.
research is math-based, but you guys don't want to hear that.
Okay. No, I want to
I
hear
was looking
math.
at betting lines and percentages and seeing what the whole world is
I love
doing.
math. It gives me an excuse to zone out for a minute.
Well, like I see like some close matchups for the whole world, like 80% picks one team, so I just pick the other side. That's pretty much how it works.
All right, St. Joe's and Villanova, or UConn and Villanova.
Villanova, regardless.
Villanova.
I actually took St.
Big East matchup. Old Big East.
It was
matchup.
before I knew. It was before I knew Greg would be joining us. I have the 10 seed moving into the Sweet 16. St. Joe's
Whoa.
winning
Oh my
against
God.
Villanova. Huge
Big respect
upset.
for Philly, but we already have Villanova, so.
All right, Virginia, Michigan State. We're all taking the 4 seed over the 1 seed, aren't we? Everybody's doing it. The whole world is doing
Everyone's
it.
doing that, and I think they're, that's the time. This is where you can gain some points because like the whole world is picking Michigan State, but are they really that much better than Virginia? I don't know.
Yeah, you make a good point. If you're playing the odds, you make a really good point, which brings out the poker player in you, the risk-reward ratio. But I just think Michigan State's just that good. So regardless of the trends, I think Michigan State's just better than Virginia.
Michigan
Maybe a little bit.
Finally healthy. They're finally healthy. They're playing well. However, Virginia is a lot better than people think they are. They won the ACC regular season by a couple of games and the ACC tournament, beating Duke in the final, a game that they normally would, normally flame out at. So Virginia's riding pretty high. Tony Bennett's done a nice job with that team.
Virginia's no joke.
But who do you got?
But that being said, I'm doing trendy. I'm taking Michigan State.
I agree with Robbie. Virginia has an amazing defense, one of the best in the country. However, they don't face teams as athletic as Michigan State. Duke is a very, very good team, but not nearly as athletic as Michigan State. They can hit their threes. Their 6'10" center, Adrian Payne, hits threes. I mean, this team can just hit all cylinders. They're the best team in healthy, in my opinion.
Yep. All right, Iowa State over St. Joe's or Villanova? Anybody?
I picked
Iowa
Villanova
State.
again.
Iowa State.
I got Iowa State over St. Joe's.
But
All right.
Villanova is very lucky that they got 2 easy games because they may not even make the Sweet 16. They're fortunate to even have to be in the game.
Yeah, that's right. I don't got them. I got St. Joe's eliminating them before that. All right, Iowa State and Michigan State. I got Michigan State moving on to the Final Four to face Florida, the matchup of the tournament.
I got Michigan State.
I got Virginia in the Final Four.
Okay.
A not very trendy pick, but they're a good team. They're 1 seed for a reason, and if nobody's picking them, I feel like there's a good value there. So
I like it. I really do. I like Greg's analogy. In fact, I feel like this is exactly what I did when I filled out a bracket 3 years ago and got last place. So I really like what he's doing here. All right, let's move on. Wichita State versus Cal Poly. Who gives a what? Wichita State wins that one, just by the hair.
Wichita State.
Kentucky and Kansas State. By the way, everyone's taking Kentucky as the trendy pick over Wichita, but
Kentucky.
Kansas State is good. FYI.
Kentucky.
Yeah, this is one of those math ones. Like everyone's picking Kentucky.
So you're going to go with
Weber
the
78%
is actually not a good
Kentucky.
coach.
There's no way they're going to win 78% of the time. So I picked Kansas State.
Okay,
Kentucky's
interesting.
riding a high. They're one of the most athletic and talented teams. If they can play cohesive basketball, there's no way Kansas State can last for them.
It'll be awesome
No
to
way.
see.
There's no way they can win Kansas State.
No way.
It'll be
You
awesome.
bet all your money. They're like 5-point underdogs. You could bet. All
It'll
your
be
money.
awesome to see if Greg knowing less about
What?
college basketball, having watched the one game he did this year, it'll be awesome to see if his mathematical approach ends up beating all the rest of us. It'll be
I
interesting.
used to watch religiously, and I would just flame out in the pool every year from all the information that I gained from watching these games.
Right.
Greg,
So I've learned that it's better just to not pay any attention.
Greg, you know there's a 3-point shot, right?
How is it like? Isn't there a 4-point shot now?
Yeah.
They're proposing it. They're proposing
That would be
it.
fun, right?
Okay. St.
That would
Louis.
be very
Oh, I
interesting.
hope it happens.
St. Louis and NC State Xavier. I mean,
NC State. T.J. Warren is one of the most dangerous players in college basketball.
I took St. Louis
did a
because
huge
I just
spot. Oh,
I like picking against these like, games that could still have two players in it. I just don't
Yeah,
like
it's annoying,
it.
right?
Yeah, it's annoying. So
Yeah.
I sort of on principle go against those teams.
Let me ask you though. You can pick. It doesn't matter which one wins, right? Like
Ex-
if you pick Xavier but NC State's there, you still get the point.
That's right. And so mathematically,
Okay.
you're right. That would be the better pick, I
Just
guess.
making
You get
sure.
better
No,
odds.
it's not the better pick. I'm just like not sure
That's
about
very-
the rules.
I think St. Louis is overseeded. However, NC State has a playing game, even if they beat Xavier. And I actually kind of like Xavier. And I think St. Louis will end up winning that game because of the playing game and because they'll be a little more rested.
And
They
one
start
hidden
5
factor.
seniors.
One thing
Huh?
we're all forgetting about here too: St. Louis Chess Club and Scholastic Center.
That's right.
No,
Can't bet
St.
against
Louis-
them.
St.
Gotta
Louis
get the
starts
chess
5
reference
seniors.
in.
They're deep.
Yeah.
They're deep.
All right, Louisville and
Just can't
Manhattan.
score.
As much as we would all love Rick Pitino's Cardinals to go home in the first round, I think we have to take Louisville.
I agree. I would love for them to lose.
I don't know why,
They're
but I
going by
can't
20.
stand the Louisville Cardinals. I can't stand them.
I can't either.
I don't know
They're
why.
going to win by 20.
Of course they're going to win by 20. I'm saying I would love for Manhattan to win, but Louisville's going to
They
blow
beat
them out of the
Rutgers
building.
by 61.
Yeah,
That
they're
was
amazing.
amazing.
61 points.
It's amazing. All right, UMass and Iowa / Tennessee. Here's that pick again where I have to take UMass over the Iowa-Tennessee BS.
Tennessee.
I'm
Greg?
going UMass. I think Tennessee's very overrated.
I have
They
ISC.
shouldn't even be in the tournament. It shouldn't even be in the tournament.
Oh.
I have ISC for the next game. I don't know which one, but one of those two is going to knock off UMass.
Okay. Duke and Mercer. Mercer sounds like a skin disease. We take Duke. Texas, Arizona State. I have to go with my Devils to get one win, even though I know everyone loves Texas. Go Longhorns. I mean Devils. Wait, it's the same thing. Awkward. Okay.
I'm taking Texas. I'm taking Texas because ASU has completely hit the skids.
Well, don't you live in Arizona, man?
Yeah, but they're in Phoenix.
U of
That's
A,
messed
for the record, U of A hates ASU more than ASU hates U of A. Just want to clarify for the Arizona dynamic going on here.
I picked
Well,
Arizona
because
State.
no one cares about ASU. That's why.
Yo, which one of you guys has a
Fans don't even go to their games.
Come on.
Which
all
one of
right.
you guys has a cat? I hear a cat meowing.
That's
Yeah,
mine.
Exactly.
He
All right.
says Arizona State.
Good. Michigan and Wolford. I got Michigan. I actually got Michigan going to the Final Four out of this bracket, so I got Michigan there.
Spoiler.
I got Michigan too.
Michigan.
Okay, Wichita State and either Kentucky or Kansas State, depending on who you pick. I went on record saying that I think Kansas State is better than people think, but I have Kentucky over Wichita State. I'm going with the trend.
I'm going Kentucky too.
I got Wichita, man. They never lose. They win every game. What are you doing?
Wichita State has
That's exactly
Crazy.
true. That's exactly true. They
Wichita
win every game.
State is I appreciate their season, but there's no way Calipari's losing to this team. I know Wichita
Really?
State's better than last year.
Calipari
There's
lost to
no
Robert
way?
Morris last year.
That was the NIT. That was the NIT. They didn't care.
They had such a talented team. They sucked last year. They were not that great this year. They did not live up to their hype. Wichita State. How did they do in last year's NCAA tournament? How was that?
Exactly.
They lost in the first Final Four game.
Oh yeah, that's right. And weren't they beating Louisville? And Louisville has mounted the comeback.
Louisville got a little help from the whistleblowers, if you ask me.
They choked a 13-point lead away, so I'm not sure what you're
Against
talking about.
Louisville, who won the
Yep.
tournament, is amazing this year. Wichita State is a very good team.
Right.
But it lost a game. Get out of
Okay,
here, Robbie.
here's the
Wichita's
thing.
I
a
don't
big
think
favorite.
so.
Here's the thing.
My God.
We're all split on this. We
Great
could keep
game.
talking for a while. We're all split. I think
No,
both
let's
picks.
just say that me and Rob are right.
Okay.
Thank you, Greg.
Okay. I'm going with Robbie with Kentucky. I think that Kentucky is just maybe one of the top 5 teams in the tournament, and I don't put Wichita State there. I think Kentucky's really, really good.
No, that's why they got the 8th seed, right?
Yeah, that's exactly why they got the 8th.
Harrison brothers are overrated. I think that they're not as good as everyone says they are. But that being said, I just think that Calipari is a much better coach, and if Kentucky plays to their potential, they are much better than Wichita State.
This is why you guys work in chess and don't fucking work in basketball.
Whereas you and I do work
coming from the Grandmaster attending Yale. Okay, let's move on. Louisville over St. Louis. Everybody agrees.
I do.
I got Louisville.
Okay,
Louisville.
Everyone has Duke.
Whoa, I got St. Louis. Gotta represent the chess center.
You might want to go. You might want to go change
trying to
that.
Win the pool.
All right.
Trying to win the pool.
Well, no,
Louisville.
there's some reason for that.
We're taking Duke over.
Everybody picked Louisville, so it's just too much.
I know, but you should take them losing a little bit later in the tournament. Duke.
I understand Louisville's better, but I don't think they're that much. Like they're maybe like 8-point favorites over that team at the most.
People,
like
people,
90% of people.
That's insignificant.
People like them as the
they're
most
not-
NBA stocked team in the tournament. I mean, Louisville's good.
Louisville.
Greg, if Louisville wins, if St. Louis beats Louisville, I'll buy you a drink because I would
don't
love
drink.
to see
You know
it
I don't
happen.
drink. So.
Love to see it. Well,
How about
good.
if
Then
St.
I'll buy you
Louis
10.
if St. Louis beats Louisville, you'll buy everybody at the St. Louis Scholastic Chess Club Center a drink. How about that? All right.
Everyone there?
Yeah,
Ooh.
everyone there. Duke over UMass. Let's just go with it. Okay, we all have Michigan winning in round 2 over Texas or Arizona State. I don't think anybody has that upset.
I have Duke losing to Tennessee, by the way.
Wow.
All right. Well,
That's cheap because Iowa wins, you still be right.
No, you're wrong on that.
No.
Tennessee's not good. They are the most underachieving team of this entire year.
What?
Yeah.
That is
Tennessee should not even be in the tournament.
Okay.
Oh.
Robbie and Robert will have
Look at
to
the
will have to
quality of
rob
victory.
this. They'll have to rob this out later. See what I did there? Okay, Michigan and Duke. Michigan and Duke. I got Michigan over Duke.
Michigan.
Oh, what do I have here? Oh, I got Michigan. How about that?
I've got Michigan too.
This is gonna be a Final Four rematch in the next round, huh?
As much as I would love to be wrong about the Kentucky Wichita State pick, so that the last round we were debating. So right now we're debating Wichita State and Louisville rematch of the Final Four. Since I already have Kentucky there, I'm just going to take Louisville over Kentucky.
Louisville anyway.
Somehow I have Wichita State is getting.
I got Louisville advancing.
So wait, Greg, you have Wichita State playing Michigan in the Elite Eight.
37-0 at this point.
Yeah. All right, Michigan and Louisville, or Michigan and Wichita State. Once again, I have Michigan over either one. I have Michigan taking down Louisville. That's right. Riding the Big Ten high, taking down the monster that is Rick Pitino, and literally Rick Pitino's going to look horrible afterwards. It's going to be so awesome. I can't wait for Michigan to beat him.
No, I'm sorry.
I've got Duke. Unfortunately, anyone that knows me knows I hate Duke, but I think Duke's going to beat Michigan.
I feel like you're kind of a
They beat him.
masochist when it comes to filling out this bracket.
They beat him. They beat him earlier than the year at Duke. Played one of their best games of the year. Duke is, no Mitch McGarry. Stauskas is obviously, I think he's a one-man show.
Okay.
Robinson, a little bit young in the guard spot, but I'm going Duke, and it kills me to do this.
Let's remind everybody who everyone's Final Fours are, so we can wrap this up under 45 minutes here.
Well,
I have
38-0 Wichita State.
Right. I have Florida. I have Florida and Michigan State. I have Florida and Michigan State, and I have Creighton and Michigan. I have Florida beating Michigan State in the game of the tournament, and it's it could go either way, but I like Florida. As I've said before, I like the senior leadership. I think there's a lot of parallels to Billy Donovan's teams with Noah, despite Young maybe not being Noah. I like Patrick Young's leadership. I just I like them all. I like everybody. I like Prather. I like Wilbekin. I like them all. I love Florida to win the whole thing, so I got them beating Michigan State. I'm just going to finish mine here. I also have Creighton. Wait, no. I have Michigan over Creighton. McDermott finally falls, but he goes down in style because he gets to number 2 on the scoring list in that game. McDermott does. And then I have Florida beating Michigan in the final game. All right. Robert, you're up. Finish your Final Four.
I have Florida beating Michigan State.
Oh,
And
wow.
I have Louisville beating Baylor. and I have Florida beating Louisville in the championship game.
Baylor's been out of my mind for so long, I forgot they existed. So, wow. Okay, Robbie, Final Four.
I got Florida beating Kansas to get to the Final Four. I got Michigan State beating Iowa State. I got Louisville beating Duke, and I got Arizona beating Wisconsin. I got Florida and Arizona playing for the national championship, and I got Arizona beating Florida.
Oh my gosh, Wildcat, Homer,
Homer, total Homer.
All right, Greg.
Somebody's getting a phone call. Save the best for last. I have all the 1 seeds in the Final Four.
Yeah.
Which is kind of lame, I know. But a lot of those teams are underdogs, the way I see it.
No, it's true.
I have Virginia beating Florida. I have Wichita State losing to Arizona. Finally, they lose a game. Oh. And then it's, I've done some research, and simulations say Arizona actually has the best chance to win because they have like a really weak section in the West.
Right.
But I picked Virginia anyway because like almost nobody's picking them, and they're pretty good. They have 4% pick them to win it all, whereas like statistics say they should win about 12%.
For the record, those same statistics that I have also looked up it's actually incorrect. Arizona has the highest statistical chance to make it to the Final Four. The team with the highest statistical chance to win the whole thing is still Louisville, according to most of those statistics, which is at 15%.
Well, the one I'm seeing, Louisville
is being given the highest chance to actually win the Final Four.
Arizona is like 1-6. Florida and Louisville are like 1-8. In the one I'm looking at.
Those are Vegas odds.
Yeah, those are Vegas odds. That's different than the. I'm looking at
like 1-9. No, it's not Vegas odds.
Not to give any plugs because I don't have any affiliation with any of these websites, but 538.com actually typed out as well as Madness.
Oh, really?
Madness.io, not .com. Madness.io. I bet you guys have never been there. Madness.io. Go to Madness.io and 538.com and you won't regret it as far as your stats.
Oh wow! I should have done that already.
I think we're gonna bring this.
Greg wants to redo.
Okay, we're gonna redo it next year. Hopefully, this will not be the first ever, not the last ever Chess Masters Bracketology. Okay, again, I have Florida. Grandmaster Robert Hess also has Florida. Robbie Adamson takes Arizona. Big surprise! Big surprise there. And Greg Shahade surprising all of us with his picks throughout the day. Has Virginia over Arizona in the final game. Remember, everybody, you can follow all of us on Twitter besides Robbie, right? 1980s joined the party. You can follow everybody on Twitter at Greg Shahade, at Daniel Rensch. What's your Twitter, Robert?
Follow us at Sports Quotient.
Okay, at the Sports Quotient. That's right. Go to sportsquotient.com. Tweet Your Bracket is where we're doing this sexy presentation from. Tweetyourbracket.com, which you can see over here on the right with our logo. And finally, you can also subscribe to Greg Shahade on YouTube. He made me give that plug because he's a big YouTube guy.
Yeah, you gotta give the link, but you gotta pronounce my name.
Oh yeah,
right.
it's Greg Shahade. Oh wait, YouTube,
there we go.
YouTube.com/Greg Shahade.
No, YouTube.com/Greg Shahade Chess.
Greg Shahade Chess. Wow, I totally butchered that, didn't I?
There's other Greg Shahades out there.
Somehow, I don't know what happened. Oh, I opened a Google account like many years ago.
I don't know why I have trouble saying Shahade. I'm really sorry about that. I normally don't.
No, it's okay. Everyone gets it wrong. It's like,
yeah, it's just weird. I think, why don't you change for all of us? Why don't you change for all of us?
I'm going to call you Daniel Root from now on.
Everybody who joined us and actually stuck around for this whole video, first of all, what are you doing with your life? Second of all, thank you. Second of all, thank you for watching this. And if you're winning NCAA polls, and if you go to tweetyourbracket.com and fill it out on Wednesday while you still have time, then you're also number one in our hearts. And we will see everybody around. Later.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.